everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Darian and today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I read in April. So if you guys watched my February and March wrap up, you may remember that I got a little tipsy during that video. I'm already laughing. But a lot of you really liked the drunk wrap up, so we're bringing it back. So I've already had one glass of rosé and this is my second, and as I explained in my last wrap up, I am quite a lightweight, so it really does not take much for me to get tipsy, but it's fine. Also, I may have chosen literally the worst time of day to film this video, but I didn't want to drink too early in the day, but I guess I could have waited until it was darker instead of the sun literally just coming right in right now. Look at my hand. So anyways, we're gonna work with what we have. It'll add to the chaos of the video, okay, it's fine. But in the month of April, I only read 6 books because I was going through my finals. I mean, 6 books not only, okay? That's a good amount of books. Will I remember these books for you to talk about? We're gonna try our best, honestly. I mean, I have trouble enough as it is when I'm sober talking about books, so after having a glass and a little bit of wine, we'll see how it goes. But I had a fairly good reading month in terms of the quality of the books I read. I think I only had 1 5-star, and I also had 1 1-star, but aside from that, everything else was definitely above 3 stars, I think. Anyways, we're gonna get into this is already chaotic. Have I said anything of value yet? No. So let's just start with the wrap up. So the first book that I finished in April was the 1-star of the month, and that was One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. This is a YA thriller. It is basically like Breakfast Club meets murder, and you're following these 5 teenagers who are in detention, and then one of them dies. And so the other 4 are, what's the word? Not victims. The other 4 are... what's the word? Not victims. Suspects. This is going great. The other 4 are suspects in this teen's murder, and then you follow each of the perspectives of the other 4 students, and they try to figure out what happened, and it just wasn't good. Honestly, like, I was having an okay time reading this book for 90% of it. Like, I knew I was probably gonna give it like a 2, 2.5, maybe a 3, because I wasn't like hating it. It's just not well written. Like, it's not. It's a badly written book. These teenagers say the corniest things, and clearly Karen M. McManus does not remember what it is like to be a teenager, because no one talks like this. Anyways, and also, like, she tried to like subvert the stereotypes. Like, we have like the good girl who does well in school, but she also has a bad side to her, and then there's like the jock, you know, who's good at sports, but guess what? He's gay. Like, she tried, whoa, I got really dark. She tried to subvert these stereotypes, and I was like, I guess, good job trying. But yeah, so I had an okay time reading this book, but then the reveal at the end as to what happened, why this person died, who killed them, I hated it. I hated it a lot, and a lot of the plot hinged on mental health issues, and I really hate when mental health is used as a plot device in books, and especially if it's in a negative way. So I had to give it 1 star because I hate it. I hate it! So so yeah, I wanted to see what all the hubbub was about with this book. I don't think many people think it's actually like really good, but a lot of people seem to have fun with it, and there's a TV show out now, so I wanted to try it, and it was a quick audiobook, but I didn't like it. The only thing I really kind of liked was there was a romance in this book, and like, even though it was super cheesy and cliche, I had a soft spot for it, okay? So I did like that, but I'm definitely not going to continue in this series. Why is it a series? I don't know, but yeah. Nope. Not for me. 1 star. Okay. The next book I read in April, which seems like ages ago that I read this book, but that is City of Glass by Cassandra Clare. Every time I hold a book up, it's gonna make my face really dark. Okay, this is better. Anyways, City of Glass by Cassandra Clare, the 3rd book in the Mortal Instruments series, which is Cassandra Clare's first series in the Shadowhunters universe. If you guys don't know, I am hosting a Shadowhunters read-along with my friends Lisa and Casey, and we had this live show on my channel, so I'll leave that linked up above or down below. It'll be linked somewhere if you guys want to check it out. I seem to remember we had a pretty good discussion about this book, but that also feels like a really long time ago. But this is the third book. Basically, the Moral Instruments series follows this girl named Clary, and she discovers that her mom may not be human and Clary might not be human. She might be part of this whole Shadowhunters world. She meets Jace and Isabel. I almost said Simon, but no, Simon's her friend. Jace, Alec, Isabel, the whole gang, and they team up kind of, and it's a lot of fun, honestly. I mean, this book, I seem to remember when I read this the first time, I like adored City of Glass, and I thought it was the best book in the Shadowhunter series, and I didn't love it quite as much this time around. I think I only gave it, yeah, I gave it 3.5 stars, and I thought I would get like, okay, so in this reread of the Moral Instruments so far, I've given City of Bones. I almost said City of Stars. That's the song from La La Land. City of Bones. I gave that 4 stars. I gave City of Ashes, I think 2.5 stars, and then this was 3. So I didn't end up loving it as much, or I didn't end up liking it as much as I liked City of Bones, but it was still pretty good. It was a fun time. There is a conflict, I guess, that ends up being resolved in this book, which thank God, because I hated it so much, and it was even worse reading it the second time around. If you know what I'm talking about, if you know, you know, but I'm very glad that that was resolved. But Clary in this book, she's starting to get a little better, but she's still pretty annoying. Simon is definitely getting better. Jace, he's Jace, you know. I mean, after reading Clockwork Angel, which I read, did I really finish that? Yeah, which I finished at the beginning of this month. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, Clockwork Angel is far superior to me than the Moral Instruments series, so it's hard for me to think about this critically when I know that the Infernal Devices series is so much better. Have I said anything that makes any sense while talking about this book? I don't know. But I thought it was a fun time. I would encourage you, if you start the Moral Instruments series, to just keep going, because, yeah. I don't know what to say. This was really good, I guess. 3.5 stars. Watch our live show for all my thoughts on it, because I clearly cannot remember. The next book I read in April was my 1 5-star of the month. That was With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. First of all, let's all take a moment of silence for this cover. Thank you. It is so stunning. Probably the most beautiful book I own, if not one of them. I actually listened to this on audiobook, and the audiobook is so amazing because Elizabeth Acevedo narrates it herself. And if you don't know, wow, her name is very hard to say. Elizabeth Acevedo is a spoken word poet, and even though this book is written in prose, not verse, which her other 2 books are written in verse, but this one's written in prose, she still speaks so well, and her voice is just so nice and lovely to listen to. So if you pick this up, I highly recommend listening to the audiobook, but I would love to reread this physically because there were a lot of parts that I was like, damn, I really want to tab that, but I couldn't because I was listening with my ears. But With the Fire on High is about this girl named Imani, and she is in her, I want to say junior year currently, but it might be sophomore year. Does it say? Unless she's graduating? I honestly don't remember. But she's in high school, and when she was in her freshman year of high school, she got pregnant, and she has, I guess, a 2-year-old daughter now. I don't remember which age she is now, but she has a young daughter. This is going great. And she lives with her grandmother, and so her life is basically her family, and also she loves to cook. It's like her dream to be a chef. And at her high school, they start offering this culinary program, and so she starts doing that. She also meets this boy that maybe she likes, and this book is just all about, you know, her life, her family, her dreams and aspirations, and it's just so lovely and amazing and just stunning, beautiful. It was just so nice to listen to, and I cannot wait to reread this one day. I loved Imani as a character. She was just very strong-willed and very sure of herself, and even though like she did kind of doubt herself sometimes, but she was just very confident in her decisions, and I just really respected her, and I loved her as a character. And I really loved the love interest character, who, like, the romance in this book is really not in the forefront. It's really all about Imani and her life and her family, and then there is like like a romance on the side, but I really loved the love interest. He was really nice. I just loved living in this world for a little bit. I would highly recommend this book if you haven't picked it up yet. It is, I think, my favorite of Elizabeth Acevedo's books so far, so yeah, I really love this. I highly recommend it. My favorite read of the month, obviously, because that's the only one I gave 5 stars. And there you go. The next book I read, the reason I picked this book up was because I was trying to take part in the Magical Readathon in April, and one of the prompts that I had to fulfill was to read a book that is under 100 pages, and I don't think I own any books under 100 pages, so I got this one because I've been wanting to read it. You know, it's one of those books that you want to read at some point in your life, so I picked up The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. I always want to say Exupéry, that's just what makes sense in my brain, but it's Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, or Le Petit Prince, which is, it's originally in French, and I would like to read it in French one day since it's originally in French. But this is essentially about a little boy, no, essentially about this guy who, his plane crashes in the desert and he meets this little boy called the Little Prince, and the Little Prince just kind of tells him his life story, and it's really cute. I gave this 4 stars because it was definitely like an enjoyable reading experience, and there's really cute illustrations involved. Like, I don't know, can you see that? It's really cute. Like, yeah, you can't see that because it's very dark whenever wow. This is going great. I don't know, can you see? You really can't see. I don't know why I'm showing you. And like, I did tab this a little bit. I don't know how well you can see that. I tabbed a little bit because there were a few lines that I was like, oh, I like that. Like, let me read this one to you. It says, I think it's the Little Prince who says this, but he says, when you look at the sky at night, because I will be living on one of them, because I will be laughing on one of them, it will be for you as if all the stars are laughing. So you will have stars that know how to laugh. Hello, come back to me. Okay. God, this is going great. Okay, I'm a little more orange now, but I don't think everything will go dark when I lift the book up. Anyways, I just thought that was really cute, and like, I really liked the writing. I mean, like I said, I would like to read this in its original language one day because I can speak French, and I think it would maybe be a bit more impactful not reading the translation, you know, but you know, it was one of those books that I always wanted to read. I'm pretty sure I never read this, so I thought it was really cute. I want to see if I can find like the synopsis of it, but in French. Okay, here's a little synopsis of it in French. It's story time with Darian. Okay, so it says, Les aventures du Petit Prince commencent sur son astéroïde, that's a hard word to say, nommé astéroïde B1612, où un jour pousse une rose. Le Petit Prince devient l'ami de cette rose fragile et belle et décide ensuite de visiter d'autres mondes car il s'ennuyait sur sa petite planète. Oh god, I lost my place. Dans son voyage, il rencontrera dans l'ordre chronologique d'autres astéroïdes habités par une personne, un roi, un vaniteux, un ivrogne, un businessman, un allumeur de réverbères et un géographe. Enfin arrivé sur Terre dans le désert du Sahara, il rencontre un pilote d'avion, l'auteur qui a eu un accident. Ils deviennent amis et chaque jour le pilote d'avion apprend du nouveau sur la vie du Petit Prince. It's crazy. À la fin de l'histoire, oh god, this is telling you the story. Okay, here's a spoiler in French. À la fin de l'histoire, le Petit Prince rentra chez lui sur sa planète pour retrouver sa rose qui l'attendait. Le pilote rentra également chez lui heureux d'avoir fait la connaissance du Petit Prince. See? There you go. You got a little story time with Darian. Yeah, so I gave it 4 stars. Oh my god, I'm not saying anything of value in this video, but it's fine. We're here for the vibes. But yeah, I'm happy I read it. It was a quick read. I read it in one sitting and it fulfilled a prompt for the readathon. And if you want to read it, I recommend. I didn't think it was like life-changing or anything, and it's the kind of book that I feel like you get more meaning out of it the more you read it. So maybe I'll reread it again one day and be like, oh yes, I see that now. But I don't know, I thought it would be nice to keep for like, I don't know, if I have kids one day I could be like, hey, Petit Prince, here it is, but in English. Okay. Okay, this next book I have some explaining to do because some might say I didn't finish this book, but let me tell you what happened. So the next book I'm going to talk about is Beloved by Toni Morrison. So here's what happened. I was assigned this book to read in the fall semester for one of my English classes. I got about 150 pages into the book, and then something happened in my personal life and I was grieving, and this book is extremely heavy and depressing, and it was definitely not the kind of book that I wanted to read at that moment. So I put it down and I read the necessary parts that I needed to for my class, and I mean, we talked about it in class, so I knew the ending of the book and everything, and I was like, okay, I'll come back to that one day. Then I was assigned this book again in my winter semester in another English class, so I was like, oh perfect, the perfect time to finish this book. However, one thing I did not consider was that grieving takes a long time, so I was still grieving, and I tried picking this book up again, and I was like, I can't do this. It was too heavy for me right now, so technically, I did not finish this book. However, my last essay for this class in the winter semester was all about this book, so I had to write an essay about this book. So I skimmed through the rest. I read the necessary passages that I needed to. I looked for quotes that, you know, helped my argument in my essay. I also had to read like articles about the book, and we discussed the book in length in class. So it feels like I read this whole book. Even though I didn't like read it front to back, I feel like I basically read it because of how much we talked about it, because of all the quotes I analyzed, all the articles I read about it. So I counted it as read, but if you disagree, I'm sorry, but I just could not. This was not the kind of book that I felt like reading at that moment in time. I would love to come back and read this like front to back one day, but now is not the time. I'm gonna read the synopsis on the back of the book because I don't think anything I say will explain this book properly enough, so I'm just gonna read what it says on the back. Staring unflinchingly into the abyss of slavery, the spellbinding novel transforms history into a story as powerful as Exodus and as intimate as a lullaby. Oh, poetic. Setha, okay, in class we pronounced her name as Setha. If anyone knows the like correct pronunciation of this name, please let me know, but that's how we said it in class. So Setha, its protagonist, was born a slave and escaped to Ohio, but 18 years later she is still not free. She has too many memories of Sweet Home, the beautiful farm where so many hideous things happened. And Setha's new home is haunted by the ghost of her baby who died nameless and whose tombstone is engraved with a single word, beloved. Filled with bitter poetry and suspense as taut as a rope, Beloved is a towering achievement by Nobel Prize laureate Toni Morrison. So obviously Toni Morrison is a queen, and I'm very happy to have read some of her work now. I would love to read some of her other books, and again, I would love to try to read this again one day. I just could not do it this time, but this is no doubt like an amazing story. I mean, amazing in the way it's told, but it's extremely hard to read at times, both like actually difficult to read, but also emotionally difficult to read. You're following, like it said, Setha as she kind of grapples with her past and especially her past actions. She's filled with a lot of guilt and regret, and she's also grieving a lot, which is part of the reason why it was so difficult for me to read this. I will say, I mean, obviously this book deals with slavery, so that's a huge part of the book, and obviously there are heavy things of racism as well. So if you think that will be difficult for you to read, maybe stay away from this book because it was extremely hard to read at points. It also deals with the topic of infanticide, which was extremely hard to read about. So, I mean, my whole paper about this book was about the theme of motherhood and how Setha, like, she was put in such a hard position as a mother, and how her actions come back to literally haunt her in this book, and how she's just, in my opinion, such an incredible mother and so strong and brave. If I like, the things she had to go through are just unimaginable, and I just feel for her, and it was just really hard to read at times. Like I said, if you think you can handle those topics, then I would suggest picking this book up, because I mean, Toni Morrison is one of the greatest writers I think ever to live. I did think that some of the writing was a little dense for me because my brain is a baby, and I think if I was reading this not for class, I wouldn't have understood everything that happened. So for that reason, I gave it a 3.5. This is definitely a book that I would recommend, and I think everyone should at least try to pick up unless you feel it will be too triggering. But like I said, I would love to pick this book back up again one day. I don't know if anything I just said made sense, but yeah, those are my thoughts on Beloved. My essay will be linked down below. No, it won't, but yeah. Okay, we're already at the last book. Wow, wowie, wow, wow. But the last book I finished in April, and I finished this literally like a week before April ended, so I definitely could have read more books in April, but then Heartstopper came out and I did not read for like a week because I just kept rewatching Heartstopper. So anyways, this was the last book I read in April, but that was The Lighthouse Witches by CJ Cook, and this was the Winer's Book Club pick for April. We still haven't had our live show yet. I think we're supposed to have it this weekend, but I'm not sure. So if we have had it yet, I'll link it down below, but I don't know about that. But anyways, this is very shiny. So this book is a mystery, and you're following this family who moves to, what is it called? It's like it's an island off of Scotland, I think. Lawn Haven, that's what it's called. They move to this island. The mother is seemingly trying to run away from her past or from something going on. We don't know. She has 3 daughters with her, and then the mother and 2 of her daughters end up going missing, and then we kind of go back and forth between that timeline, which is in the 90s, I think, and then the present day when you're following the one daughter who didn't go missing. She's all grown up, and then she's starting to find out things about her family's disappearance and stuff about the island, and it's just honestly kind of a creepy time, but I really enjoyed this book. Honestly, like when people were asking me like how I was feeling about the book, I'm very orange, I'm so sorry. When people were asking me how I was feeling about the book, I kept saying like the writing is extremely simplistic. Like there's nothing too special about the writing, but the story itself I thought was very interesting, and I was very hooked in, and I was never bored reading it. This book is also like, it reads so fast. I mean, the font, can you see? I don't know if you can see. Oh, I highlighted something. This lighting is atrocious. I'm so sorry. Come back. Okay. But the font is really big. The chapters are really short. So it was an extremely quick read to get through. And I just had a fun time with it. I thought it was fun. I thought the mystery was interesting. I kept guessing what was going on. I don't think I guessed like exactly what was going on. I mean, I don't think you really can. But anyways, I thought the reveal was interesting. I wasn't expecting it, and I thought it was interesting. How many times can I say that? I don't know. But I ended up giving this 4 stars, and I'm excited to talk about the rest of the whiners about it, because I know Sasha has finished it, but I don't think Rachel or Amanda have read this yet. So it'll be interesting to see what they thought about it, but I liked it. I thought it was good. 4 stars. I don't know. I never hear anyone talking about this, but it's got a nice cover. I tabbed it. You can't see that. So yeah. So those are the books that I read in April. I feel like this went by really fast, but I only read 6 books, so I guess that's what happens. I hope I made some sense. I feel like I made more sense in this video than I did in my last wrap up, but watch, I'm gonna come edit this and be like, what is she saying? I hope you guys found this somewhat entertaining. Let me know if you want to see Drunk Darian come back in the future for future wrap-ups, or is she done? Should we take her out? You know what I mean? I don't know. But yeah, let me know if you've read any of these books. If you like them, if you didn't like them, I don't know. Let me know. What was your favorite book in April? I'd love to know. But thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon with another video soon. Bye!